All right, friends. Well, it's Curtis Robinson again, back with you to talk a little bit about some of the things you need to know before you even get the business established. Remember now, you should be making questions, taking notes on the things that really concern you the most. That's how you're going to get value out of these videos. And then you should be contacting me. If you contact me with a question, we'll set up a date and a time to either talk by phone or maybe even in person, or we can talk over Zoom if you'd rather do that. If you talk by Zoom, I can do some stuff on computer and I can share my screen with you, and that's pretty cool. The bottom line is that for you to watch these videos and then go out on your own, there is some value just in the videos. It's the interaction with me that's probably going to give you the most bang for your buck. I would say you should probably do that. So again, I'm here to help coach you along the way. And of course, establishing that relationship with me, I think, is going to be very valuable for you. I've done a lot of this with a lot of other companies, with a lot of other individuals. And when you're kind of looking at what am I really bringing to the table, well, it's not just a video that anybody could watch. It's your personal questions, your personal concerns, and I'm trying to give you a bigger understanding that's really directed towards your individual need. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about two things today. The first thing that I want to talk about is the reception and scheduling. So if you are running a mom and pop, this means basically you're the therapist, you're the CEO, you're the biller, you're the scheduler, you're doing all the advertising, you're doing all the networking, marketing, and so forth. You're running the show pretty much single-handedly on your own. If you're doing all those things, God bless you, right? It's a lot. It's a lot of work. I think you should hire a receptionist and scheduler. And here's kind of the trick. Number one, look at what's the value of your hour. All right, let's say that you're a therapist. Let's say, for example, that the average cash pay rate is $100, just for easy math. And let's say that the average reimbursement is $100, again, just for easy math. And you're going to give 1 hour of therapy, you're going to get $100 for your time, and then you move to the next client. If you think about that, does it take a therapist with a master's degree or even a psychologist with a PhD or a PsyD, does it take somebody with an advanced degree to answer the phone and then ultimately gather some information, put it in the computer, and then set an appointment? Well, the answer is no. And here's the thing. If you're doing those things, then you're not doing therapy. So when you look at the math, let's say that you're a $100 an hour kind of person, and it takes you an hour to go back through all your messages and your emails so people are trying to look for an appointment. And then you got to call those people back, and then you got to set your own appointments, and it costs you an hour of your time. What you're looking at is you've lost $90 doing that, because you could have been seeing a client for $100. You could have paid someone $10 for that hour. Now, again, let's say, for example, that you're not a minimum wage kind of a person. You don't hire people for minimum wage. Let's say that you're hiring them for $15. $15 an hour is not bad money, and you don't need any degree. You need minimal training. You got to be able to answer a phone and type on a scheduling system, preferably like Therapy Notes, CareCloud, or some other electronic healthcare record system. You can train somebody up in very short amount of time to get good at that. And that's what they do. That's their thing. And you're listening really for, do they have the right voice? And can they follow the steps? And can they follow a script? Pretty simple. I actually have a script that's actually built. I'll be glad to mail that to you or email that to you so that you kind of know how we got clients in. It's not proprietary in any way. I built it myself. And it basically gets you through the essential pieces. How did you find us? What is it that you would like to work on? And what's the main symptoms that you're feeling? Is it kind of an anxiety, depression, or is it something else? You gather that information, you ultimately put it in the system. You get their payment information, you put that into the system. You set their first appointment, you put that into the system. It's really not tricky. But if you're doing it and it takes you 1 hour and you could have seen a client for 1 hour, well, you basically lost $90 because you could have made $100 in that hour and hired somebody for $10 an hour. Does that make sense money, financial wise? So don't do that. I'm telling you, don't do that. Hire somebody to do that. They will be better at it than you will be with a little bit of practice. Let's say, for example, that you're not a mom and pop, that you're running an actual, fully functional operation as a business owner. So you're the CEO. Think about that. How much is your time worth as a CEO? Well, probably you're a $200-300 an hour person. And maybe not. Maybe you're just a $100 person, $100 an hour person, just like your other therapists. But what are you putting your time into? That's always the question. You probably couldn't hire a $10 or $15 an hour person with no real business experience, no real business acumen, no real knowledge of the industry, and then send them to do all the networking. These people that do that well need to be highly educated, highly trained, to be able to answer those questions on the fly that a doctor or a nurse might have at a family health care clinic. So you're doing those things to get the relationship from the docs and the nurses. So let's say that you're a $200 an hour person and you're now the one that's answering the phone. Your therapists are the ones that are doing all the work. Well, now again, you're doing a $10 or $15 an hour job and you're missing out on the $200 an hour potential income. So again, when you kind of start weighing things, you realize, what should I do? What am I best at? And how am I going to make the most money for that hour? You don't want to be doing scheduling and reception. By the way, there are people, they're not therapists, they're not licensed, they're not educated to do that. And they're not the CEO, they don't have knowledge of the industry, they're not good with networking. But they can answer the phone and they're really excited about having a $10 or $15 an hour job. You can employ them to do that. So I want to teach you how to do that. I really do. I'm pretty good at it. I've helped a number of other people that were in my franchise. I helped them establish their own scheduling and reception because it was cheaper to do it in-house than to farm it out. So option number 1 is you do it. Option number 2 is you hire somebody else to do it. Option number 3 is you hire a call center to do that for you. And they're expensive. So the thing that I always wanted is, number 1, I'm the CEO. I'm not going to answer the phone. That's the first thing. Number 2, my therapists are going to be doing therapy. They shouldn't be answering the phone. So there we go again. We want somebody to do that, not the 2 people making the most revenue. We're going to hire a $10 to $15 an hour person. They're going to be on the phone during peak hours especially. And then the callbacks or the second appointment, sure, the therapist can make that because they now have a relationship with them and they can always set that appointment at the end of the initial therapy appointment, or they can call them later on and they can say, hey, look, let's set up an appointment, or the person can call them back when they have a better understanding of their schedule and they can set that appointment. So I would say we need to do that. I will help you hire the receptionist schedulers, train them on the electronic healthcare record system, train them on the script. I can help you do those 3 big things, and then it's just management. The CEO can manage, and there's also, in many cases, a different person, a practice manager, but the CEO basically needs to get the right people in place, highly trained, fully functional, and then let them do what they do and not micromanage them. As a CEO, I never wanted to tell somebody, oh, well, you're doing it wrong. I hate that. If I see that they're doing it wrong, I immediately either retrain them or I fire them. They're either going to do it right or they're not going to do it right. If they're going to do it right, it's a function of good training. If they didn't get the good training, let's retrain them. Let's make sure that they can do it. But if they ultimately can't show up to work on time, or they're messing up the whole script, they won't read the script, they're going to basically try to wing it, you don't need those people. You need somebody that does what you tell them to do by standing operating procedures. All right, number 2 is the billing official, much like the scheduler. Again, who's going to do this work? Billing is a little bit more expensive. You're looking at a $15, $20 an hour person. But again, you're a $100 an hour therapist or you're a $200 an hour CEO. How are you looking at that? Do you want to do your own billing? Here's my problem. I didn't want to do it. It's not what I want to do. And here's why. A phone call with a client lasts no more than 10 minutes. You can get in and out with a client, gathering all their information, hearing, even if they're in crisis, listening to them, giving them comfort, building rapport, then getting their personal information, their billing information, getting an appointment. So you can do all that 10 minutes max. You should never spend more than 10 minutes with a client on the phone as a scheduler or receptionist. The billing person might make a phone call and then wait on hold with, let's say, United for an hour. They've got to be doing other things while they're listening to the awful, music that's going on, this very terrible elevator music while you're waiting on someone just to answer your call. You don't have time to do that as a therapist. You need to be seeing clients. And if you're the CEO, you don't have time to be waiting on the phone. You need to be networking, marketing, managing your practice, looking for new clients, and building new clinics. So who should you do that? It's the $15 to $20 an hour biller. Now, here is the magic. And again, I've done this to some extent. You cross-train your scheduler biller back and forth. So here's kind of the magic. Let's say, for example, that you got at least one biller, and probably you're going to need 2 schedulers. You got 3 people on staff. Let's say that one of those people ends up needing to go on leave, or they have an emergency, they're not going to be there. Well, now you still got 2 people left. One can answer the phone, one can do billing, and then they can switch back and forth. You might end up paying your combination scheduler biller a little bit more money because they're qualified to do billing, even if predominantly they're doing scheduling. But now you've got somebody that can rotate back and forth. You don't need 2 separate billers and 2 separate schedulers. And then if one of them, you got 2 billers here, if one of those goes on leave, and then you got your 2 schedulers over here, and one of those goes on leave, then you're kind of like, well, I'm okay as long as they don't get sick, right? You want to have training in depth is what it's called. We did that in the military. The cross-training of people so that they can do more than one job is extremely valuable. You can't do that in a call center. The call center only does one thing, and that's answer the phone. So then you need another company, a billing center. The billing center only does one thing, and that's the billing piece. And by the way, you can't really apply pressure to the billing center or the call center because they are outsourced, right? You can apply a certain amount of pressure to your in-house people. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say, for example, that the best you can hope for is an 80% first-time pass rate for billing. So guy comes in, he's got better insurance, and you get him all logged in, you do the therapy appointment, or your therapist does that appointment, and you go to bill and there's a problem. We don't know what that problem is. There's all kinds of problems. But let's say that Ambetter doesn't. They give you a denial. They're not going to pay you. Somebody's got to make the 1-hour phone call, and then they've got to sit on there and wait and then try to work it out with the insurance company. It's very, very problematic. And that's not even talking about credentialing, which is a completely separate issue. We'll talk about that another day. The thing that you got to remember is that if you've got people that are well-trained, highly qualified, they can do that, and then you can kind of twist on them a little bit and say, you know what, you keep calling them. You know what, get this money. And they will, because they work for you. You get your billing center, somebody in, I don't know, New Jersey or Nebraska or somewhere long, far away, and you say, hey, look, I really want this money. You guys got to do it. They're like, look, we only try 3 times, and then we write it off. You're like, you only try 3 times, and you write it off? You got to be kidding me. That's $100 for an appointment that basically I still have to pay my therapist for that time. I still got to pay rent. I still got to pay lights. I still got to pay the internet. I still got to pay the water bill. I got all these bills. I want you to get me my money. And the billing center is going to say, no, we only try 3 times, and then we write it off. We're not going to waste our time on that. We got other bigger fish to fry. And then they're charging you an exorbitant amount, by the way, more than you can hire somebody. You can hire somebody for a cheaper amount. Keep that in mind. So you want that in-house biller. I can teach you to do that, how to properly search for these people, how to recruit those people, how to train those people, and then ultimately how to get them where they are autonomous. In other words, they do it all on their own. You're not really managing much. For the most part, I would come into the office and I'd be like, hey, Miss Jones, or hey, Miss Smith, how are you? Good to see you. You guys doing all right? Great. How you feeling today? Pretty good? All right, good. And then I would say something to the effect of, we want you guys to love working here. Is there anything else I can do to help you feel like you love coming to work? And every single time, just because I ask that frequently, every single time my schedulers and my billers would say things like, we love working here. This is a great place. You don't mess with us. And I'm like, that's right. Because you're a professional, I don't have to mess with you. And you guys are always professionals. So thank you so much. Now, again, I gave them time off. I sometimes, like around the holidays, I give them a bonus, a small amount of money. Or in some cases, I gave them a raise if they were doing super good work. You can do that with your people. You can't do that with a call center or a billing center. And again, you don't give yourself a raise for being a great scheduler. You don't give yourself a raise for being a great biller. You just have to muddle through that crap at $10 an hour when you're another $100 or $200 an hour person. It's not worth your time to do that. You got to hire the right person who wants that job, who's going to be good at that job, who's going to love that job. You need to do what you're good at. Guys, it's been about 15 minutes. We're into this thing. I'm going to let you go, but remember that I need you to subscribe. This is probably the 4th video that you've watched. If you haven't watched 3 videos prior to this, you've missed the introductory videos and some of the other important videos, maybe on marketing. Make sure you watch those videos. By the way, it's a non-linear progression through these videos, so if you miss one, go back and watch. It's not the end of the world. But you need to be watching these videos and you need to subscribe. And then I'm going to be doing a ton of these live videos, and I'm going to put up some other videos that aren't going to be part of the system. It's going to be just value added. If you don't ring the bell, you won't get the notification that I added a new video. And you need that notification. Even if you decide I don't really want to watch it, I want you to know that I've made another video, and maybe later on you'll be like, seems like I saw, we're having this problem. Seems like I saw a video that might address this problem. Let me go back and look for it. You won't know what I recently released if you don't have notifications. So ring that bell. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to ring the bell. Guys, again, my name's Curtis Robinson. I'm glad I can work with you guys. Be sure to keep me on speed dial. You should have my name. You should have my phone number. You should be texting me. You should be calling me if you have questions, and I'm here to answer those questions for you. Now, keep in mind that there is a system, so we need to follow the system. Don't call me before you've watched the video, because again, I want you to watch the video and then get some information, then make some questions for me. So you're not just like, well, tell me everything you know about marketing. Holy crap, that's going to be a long, expensive phone call for you. Hey, tell me everything you know about billing. Holy crap, man, that's going to be a long, expensive phone call to you. These videos are for you so you can save money. You're not going to be getting 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of coaching by phone or by Zoom. You don't want to do that. That's extremely expensive. Watch the video first. Guys, take care. Be sure to like and share. If you saw this on social media, be sure to do the thing there as well. A like and a share is important. And then ultimately a comment. I'd love some comments. Comments are awesome. Take care. We'll see you again soon.